When you thought it was over, we started it over. Just a different chapter, but still part of the story. Spirit of a patriot, but the heart of a soldier. If you wasn't part of the grind, you can't be part of the glory. We right here, we ain't going nowhere. It's your worst nightmare. We back and they all scared. Every year is our year. The defense is top tier. Whenever you see that red and blue, it's a new era. They too scared of us. I don't know who said it was over, but they lied. The truth never miss, kicking down the door like who let him in. We been grinding and we ain't worried about the small talk. We big timers.
Yeah, can't believe it, we ain't leaving. Yeah, we achieving, can't be beaten. See it loud, see it proud from the top of my lungs. Hometown, second crown, you ain't trying with us. Around this time, you really can't deny. You can't run, you can't hide when the Patriot comes.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Patriots Friday Night Light podcast. I'm here with Dog Nation. We just came off of the Colts game. It was entertaining until the fourth quarter. I guess. brutal ending.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah, so I feel like the offense, besides the red zone, played really well. I thought Drake May was slinging it like crazy. It's the same story every week. Penalties killing us. Weird play calls and critical moments killed us. Right? I mean, we drove down the field every single time. We only had one punt, which is crazy because I think teams that have only punted once or whatever were like 250-3 or something. And like with the certain stats that we had on offense, and of course we were the ones to make it, have the 4 losses. I mean the offense played well, but like I said, it's the same thing every single time. The offensive line just killing us, penalties after penalties, and coaches not making changes to help those players because it's the same players every single time. Same, they're in the same exact lineup every single time, and it's just not changing. The offensive line is putrid. The coaching staff that deals with the offensive line is putrid. It is not improved at all season, and it's another loss due to the fact that we have the worst offensive line in the league because Drake May and I feel like the receivers and the tight ends played well enough to get all the way down into the red zone every time and get some sort of score, but the offensive line is just killing us every single time.
Yep, that, and it's like me, I was getting arguments with people about this too. It's like we got so prone to where I feel like we watched Mac Jones for years, and it just looked inadequate and it looked bad. And you see Drake May, he's really the answer. But then it's like everybody wants to ignore, the play calling at the end of the game. You understand what I'm saying? Because that was one of those games where I was watching and it was like for hours, I'm just like, how did we lose? And one of my worst fears this was going to be one of those games where a team outgained a team by this and did this and won the turnover battle and did this, and the record is 100 and something to nothing. But this is about to be the first loss. And you know what ended up happening? That's exactly what happened. And I'm like, how? It's like, okay, yeah, we can say what we want about Covington. Yeah, we already know the writing's on the wall with that. But then it's like AVP doesn't deserve any passes in this, because it's like, yeah, the game was called good. I'm not saying that he called a bad game. I'm saying at the end of the game, him, Gerard Mayo, it's like there was no aggression there. Like literally Christian Gonzalez iced the game for them. In back-to-back weeks, your 2 best players were the ones making the plays.
And with the coaching, like you said, I thought the play calling was fine, but when it got to critical moments, which is how it's been all season, the critical moments, they crumble. Right, the interception, we ran it twice in a row. We didn't do that the entire game. And, of course, the drive to seal the game, to win it all, we changed the entire game plan. It's like when Drake May keeps throwing the interceptions on the drives to win the game, where they're throwing 50 yards down the field, and we don't do it all game. Like, why on critical moments are we just changing everything? It makes no sense.
Because I feel like it's this. In situational moments, they're doing the same thing that they're doing. Football is a game that's played in multiple different phases. So, you have your plays where you should be comfortable with, hey, can we get a few yards here? We're guaranteed a few. You understand what I'm saying? But then come those critical moments where you have to come up with that play call late in the game that may need to get you a critical third and short or a third and medium, or, play calls down in the red zone, knowing that your offensive line is not going to be able to hold up for long to, block, or just the simple fact that it's taken, the play calling could be good, but with that offensive line, the more plays that they're on the field, now they're prone to mistakes. Because, it looks good when we're on 10-play drives. But then what starts to happen on play 11, 12, things like that? They're getting grabby. Because now they're tired as well, because they're not up to the standard that should be. So it's like, it's all a combination of things. It's like, is it only one specific thing? No, I don't feel like the coaching staff helps the situation at all, because it's like AVP. But what about everybody else on this offense? Like I keep telling people, I think Drake May would have been Drake May minus AVP. You understand what I'm saying? Because he's just he's that type of player. Like, I could say that the biggest difference is maybe his drop back step. Him having that left foot forward definitely changed his game, because having the left foot forward gives you kind of that extra half step when dropping back. So now he has a better read of the field, versus where you would see like older veteran quarterbacks. Look how when they're in shotgun, their right foot's forward.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's easier for them to get the ball out to one side of the field, versus where having that left foot forward, he's balanced. You understand what I'm saying? He's balanced.
Yeah.
And with his type of athleticism and arm strength, he'll be able to get those balls into those tight windows. But it is a situational football thing, and it's like that third down catch that should have been challenged. That it looks like even Mike Reese said he showed it to an official analyst, and he said that it was a drop. So could he have been wrong? Yeah, but that means it was worth a look at, because
it's this situational stuff, and then like there's no aggression in those situations, right? If there was aggression, he would have called the challenge. If there was aggression, we wouldn't have ran it twice. We would have thrown the ball, right? It's like there's no guts from this coaching staff to like. Which makes no sense, because we've only had 3 wins. Like, why aren't we trying to go for the win every time? Like, why aren't we just being gutsy, just opening up the playbook and just trying everything?
Yeah, I just feel like we have a Matt Eberflus on our hand, because it's just like everything Jerod Mayo says. It's like, it's just so sickening, because then it's like you put it on the players. Last week it was once you step across those white lines, there's nothing we can do for you. Yes, make adjustments. There's a lot of things you could do for your players while they're in the game. And then this week, you want to go with we won a Super Bowl here. Jerod, you had nothing to do with that Super Bowl. You were hurt, for one.
Right.
2, you're not Bill. So which is it? Do you guys want to scrub Bill out of the building and the culture that was built? Because, like, right now, this is a clown show. Like, honestly, like, because it's like they're becoming that team that they're showing you ways how to lose. They're literally showing you ways how to lose. There's no consistency. There's not much. You know what I mean?
It's right. The stuff that's been killing our team, right? The critical situations, the offensive line, like nothing's improving. Like the only thing that's improving is Drake May. and Drake May's been improving the offense. But when it comes to like stuff like that, the big decisions and try to move players into the right position and take players out when they're not playing well, like that's the coaching. Like Drake can only do so much. Like the scoring is increased, the efficiency on third downs is increased, passing yards, all that is increased. That's Drake. Drake is incredible. The coaching staff, right? The weakest link is the offensive line right now, and the coaching staff has done absolutely nothing. And that's what's like killing us. And then like there's no aggression. There's no balls. The coaching, like I get it. They're like it's a new head coach and stuff. But like make a name for yourself. Like go for a fucking win. Like you need to win. Like this is getting ridiculous. Just go for it. Like what are we doing? 68-yard field goal? Like after not letting him have a 55-yarder? Like that's like what the fuck are we doing? Like it makes no sense. The critical moments are just destroying us. Yeah, right? Like the Vikings, like the year where on one score games they kept winning. It's because they're ballsy, right? Like we're like the complete opposite. Like what are we doing?
Look at Dan Campbell last night.
Exactly. Like
field goal.
Stick to your guns.
Said, "Damn that." He went.
Yeah, lay your nuts on the table. Like this is football. Like this isn't like we're not trying to be cute here. Like, go for a freaking win.
But this is what, like I said, he continues to just like throw things on his players. Like at the end of the day, Gerard, you gotta take up for that because it's like, dude, I already got it figured out, and nobody be able to convince me of anything different. The reason why the Patriots didn't take a swing at Mike Vrabel is because, Bill had in his contract that Gerard Mayo was supposed to be the next head coach when he walked away. Being that Crafts enforced that, Bill walked out, they had to honor the contract. And even if they let go of Gerard right now, there still has to be some type of payout, or there would have had to been some type of payout had Gerard not been selected for the head coaching job. Yeah, and this is what I've heard media talking about, and it kind of makes sense, being that there was a contract involved in this prior to it being any coaching cycle, it even being looked at. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like at the end of the day, people can say what they want. I don't understand why people are trying to tear down Bill. Like, yeah, he may not have did the best job in some areas of the team on the last couple of years, but his legacy is cemented here. And it's just like, I don't get it. And I feel like, and that's why the Patriots are starting to look the way that they are, because you enforced something. You removed the man from the thing that he was most greatest at, the head coach. But you still kept the same scouting staff. And you still kept the same people in the front office. And we still, like I said, we went over this and for length in other episodes, the wide receivers. So it's like every AVP is responsible for more than just Drake May. So if we want to go to TC McCartney, shout out TC McCartney. You know what I mean? That's the quarterback's coach.
Right.
Because AVP, I gotta judge you all off as a whole. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, yeah, our offensive line sucks. How can we get the ball out of Drake May's hands better? How can we maximize these receivers that you took? Like, Ron Baker, you telling me is that bad where he doesn't have your trust, where he can't get on the field, and it is a losing season? I would be throwing everything in the dish to see what tastes good. Right,
exactly. Just try everything. Like we're not playing for anything. Just try whatever and see if it works.
And sad to say, over these next 4 games, these are bad. This is a brutal stretch. If the Patriots had an easy stretch, it was just prior weeks. We got Buffalo twice. If I'm not mistaken, got the Chargers as well as the Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals in Arizona too.
So it's not Drake May that I'm worried about. And honestly, I worry about the coaching staff more than I worry about the players. Because what I'm seeing is, listen, everybody can, the defense, the defense. Listen, Anthony Richardson threw for 50%. Like they're like, what do you like? They're Jonathan Taylor didn't have this great game. It's not like the Colts offense went off all over the Patriots defense. They had 250 total yards, and you know what I mean. And the Patriots offense also did their job too. So clearly, if both sides of the ball did their jobs, what happened? It was coaching. In critical moments of the game, it was let down. There's no like everybody. Oh, go after the defense. Yeah, they gave up a 19-play drive. There was a couple of things on that 19-play drive that coaching wise could have been done differently.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not going to sit here and beat down on the defense because they gave something up at the end of the game, because guess what? The defense made a play. The defense made a play and the offense laid an egg. And then after the offense laid an egg, the defense laid an egg. And after that, we left out of there with egg on our face. That's like, I can't make it no more simpler than that. So they need to talk to that coaching staff. Don't try to continue to put it on any individual player or, you know, DeMarcus Covington. Yeah, do I feel like he should be the DC? No. But at the end of the day, I don't really find him the most blame for what happened in that game. Because it's just overall that coaching staff, it stinks. Like the front office, it stinks. Everything about it just stinks. If Kraft, like, all right, all this money that we're gonna have in free agency, like, what are y'all doing with the money? Investing it somewhere else? And
they built the new facility, the new football facility. Like, I saw them like, are you fucking kidding me? This is like one of the biggest off seasons that we've ever had that we're about to go into. And we're building a new facility.
Like, this is crazy. Well, that's because their old facility got rated one of the worst in the league. But listen, why is that? Honestly, why is that? We can sit here and talk about Bill all we want. I don't think Bill Belichick has Robert Kraft's checkbook. When those checks are starting to get cut, like I said, any guaranteed money on those contracts, the owner has to have in escrow.
Right.
That comes down to Kraft. Like I said, you could do a lot of reading when they're talking about how Kraft was even so cheap that not even really want to get the coaches new printers at one point in time. And I'm not kidding. This is on paper. But it's like I said, I take a deeper look into the franchise versus just looking from the outside in. Like I said, yeah, there's whatever. There's plenty of blame that could be going around. But I'm telling you this now. Robert Kraft needs to bring somebody in to advise him or something, or we're about to end up like the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. Yeah. Where they just do everything and they do it incorrect. Like, and we just,
At least they can draft, though. At least they can draft. Like, why weren't you guys like picking people off of? I would have been in college trying to look at lower scouts. Like, what are you guys seeing out of these kids coming out of high school? Because, all right, if you wanted to change the old Belichick way, you understand what I'm saying? You would want to get some young innovators in there. You know what I mean? Some young innovators that's now understanding football for what it is and respect it for what it was. You understand what I'm saying? Because clearly, I'm guessing that's why Bill was pushed out, but I think it was more personal than that. But like I said,
that's what makes me kind of nervous is like there's like a whole personal thing. Like even Jerome Mayo like tiptoes around talking about Bill, which like you were saying earlier, where like we don't want to forget about all the championships and all that. We don't want to have that get scrubbed out of the building. But it sometimes it seems like that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah,
it seems like Bill rubbed people the wrong way. Which I mean, when you're the greatest coach of all time and people are starting to question you. Like I think he has the right to get pissed off, and like he starts losing, but he still acts like he's still the best coach because he is.
And people neglect to look at what is real. I would never, like I said, and I love Tom Brady to death, and I will argue with anybody about this toe and nail, tooth and nail. I would never sit here and say that I can give Tom Brady more credit than Bill Belichick or anything, because it's like, all right, if you want to talk about between the two, you got to give them their 50-50. All right, what do you want to go to the last 3 Super Bowls? versus Seattle. Defensive play call had to have been made at the end of the game. That would have been New England's third straight Super Bowl loss had Malcolm Butler not picked that ball off.
Yeah.
Atlanta, New England defense. What was this? Tom Brady threw a pick six. So New England defense, realistically, overall, and when everybody was saying that, oh, well, the Falcons was working them, they only gave up 14 points to the offense.
Yeah, that offense was averaging like 35 a game. Like
Exactly.
They were ridiculous.
And they gave up another touchdown early in the second half. After that, they scrapped it in. So in order for Tom Brady to get the ball, they had to do their job, and they came up and make plays. How many plays did Dante Hightower make in those Super Bowls? You understand?
Yeah. He's
the
one of the
strip
clutchest
sack,
linebackers ever.
You know what I mean? Trey Flowers. That was Belichick taking advantage of Kyle Shanahan's coaching errors because they only ran the ball 4 times after they went up by those 25 points.
Right. That's exactly what's happening to us, but the opposite. Like we're getting taken advantage of, right? You're talking about all those clutch moments and, critical moments. We're not doing that at all. And like, I get it. We're like a young staff, we're trying to learn the ways, but Draw Mayo, he's been a player for forever. Van Pelt has been in the league forever. I'm kind of getting a little tired of like, oh, these guys have no experience. These guys were position coaches. Like they were still coaches. Like there's not much different. Like you're just in charge of more people. It's not like you don't have the experience of being a defensive coordinator. You were the defensive line coach, right? You're already a coach on defense. Like these guys already have experience and like the critical moments and like changing the whole offense. I mean, that's just stupidity, right? It's not like it's like, oh, he doesn't really, he's still learning how to like play call. You've been involved in these plays forever. You know when to run the ball, when to pass the ball. Like it's like 3rd and 15, you pass the fucking ball. Like it's simple football. Like I don't get why like this whole no experience is pissing me off.
Yeah, because you're right. And it's because I remember Covington coming in talking about we're going to be a lot more aggressive on defense. The reason why Belichick's defense was where it was because he could morph it. He morphs it week by week to try to do what he can to limit the offense.
I was really hoping we keep that going.
Another question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Who was the Patriots' last top 10 pick? And like do you think their last top 10 pick before Drake May? And do you think he was this like a great player? Since we're talking about the old Belichick ways and things like that, and him not being able to get great value on a lot of plays in the first round. Do you know who it was?
And was it Gerard Mayo?
Yep. Was Gerard Mayo this great player, or was he just a good run stopper?
Yeah.
But you see what I'm getting at here. The same philosophy that you guys are now trying to poop on and things like that. This is what was causing us to win. Like I said, it gets loud when it's in the losing ways and things like that. We just haven't adapted to that new age yet. But if you were going to get rid of Bill, then they all should have been gone. You should have scrubbed that whole front office, because it's like you kept the same scouts, you kept the same execs, you just elevated everybody's role, saying that, okay, this 72-year-old guy, who we'll probably get to a little bit later on, is the problem, so we're going to remove him. Though we'll say he's the greatest coach of all time, but we're going to say arguably for some people's sake, because,
well, those guys are idiots.
Yeah, other people are, but,
Yeah.
So you remove him and you elevated everybody, and it doesn't look like none of them were prepared for that role. And what's constantly going to end up happening, especially with the Jalen Pope thing, and I'm going to let you go right here, is the fact that we traded that pick to the Chargers and they took Ladd McConkey. And,
who's an absolute dog.
And it's looking the way that it's looking. So,
yeah. And it's like, I like to think of like these guys, getting promotions and they're not able to handle it. Like, let's say you're, working at a bank firm or whatever, and you go from, working at the low level and you go to manager, right? You go there because you've earned it and you know what to do, and you go in there and you're supposed to perform, right? You have experience, you know the ways of everything. That's why they gave you the manager role, is because they expect you to handle it. That's what happened with these guys. They had the experience. They showed that they can do it. They're put into these positions. They should be able to handle it, and they're not, like, at all. So I'm sick of getting this coaching staff excuses. Like, even if they're winning, like, if we just change, that after the interception, we drive it down and we kind of run the clock. There's still offensive line issues that are just insane, right? Jalen Polk, he's still, I mean, what the hell is going on with that? The draft picks have been terrible. Like, even if we're winning, there's still all these blaring things that should be easily fixed that they just can't fix. And it's just the same thing every single week. Even if we're winning, I mean, like, the offensive line is still an insane concern, even if we were, let's just say, 10-3. Right, this offensive line is putrid. We wouldn't be able to win a Super Bowl even if we were 10-3 with that offensive line. Right, defense wins championships. We've seen it on every single Super Bowl. If the offensive line can't perform, they're going to crumble in the Super Bowl. Right, and that is the standard. That it will always be the standard. And yeah, I'm sick of getting this coaching staff excuses. Like, they got to step up. They need to grow some balls. I think that's kind of the minimum that we can do is grow some balls. Open up that playbook and don't fucking fold in these critical moments. Like, it's still the game. It's not like it's a new game on these critical. It's the same game. Just do the same thing you've been doing the whole game that was working, and just keep it going. Like, it's crazy. It sucks because I got so mad after this game, even though we weren't playing for anything, because we had the win and we saw it just crumble before our eyes. Like, that whole drive that the Colts were doing at the end, I just like, yep, they're gonna do this and they're gonna go for 2 points. It's so obvious, and it happened.
Yep. Oh, I already said that, because I'm like, they couldn't stop. They couldn't stop them all day. You think the Colts want to go see the Patriots in overtime?
Yeah, no, they're playing for.
They just took advantage of a coaching error.
They had balls. They laid their nuts on the table. And they stuck to their conviction, and they won.
My girlfriend's right here. She can tell you what did I say? I said they're going to go for 2.
Yep, it was so obvious, so obvious.
So it's like, it's Gerard. I don't like him, man. Like, and I heard something that they were talking about how he was acting last year. That in the coaches meetings, they were like, he was like so like arrogant, like, well, we good on our side of the ball. Like, maybe y'all need to talk to the offense. Like, but his personality comes out when he's talking. Oh, we're a soft football team across the board. Then he walks that back. Oh, well, we won a Super Bowl here. And then he walks that back. This is him, and I feel like I do a pretty good job of reading people. That's who he is. And it's just sad that Drake May, as great as he is, that we may end up doing exactly what the Chargers did with Justin Herbert and Brandon.
Or like Stafford with the Lions. And
like just wasting years, because anybody with a clear eye can see, despite what the Chargers had around them, which is a good comp for Drake May, that Justin Herbert played above what was going on, versus his head coach was just an idiot. Mind you, he came from the defensive side of the ball, and he had one of the worst defenses in the league. Now flip it that now they got Jim Harbaugh over there. The Chargers, I think, got the number 1 scoring defense in the league right now.
Yep.
In their top 7 or top 5 in yards allowed. Though they did always had the highest defensive payroll, but they were playing terrible. But it just goes to show you coaching.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, with like our defense, like it's the same defense from last year, plus Christian Gonzalez being in the second year, and White and exploding, and it's worse.
That's what I'm saying. The defense last year was worse, because remember, Gonzalez only made it to 4 games. Matthew Judon went out in the same game versus the Cowboys. So who did Belichick have over the rest of the season? I think Marcus Jones had ended up getting hurt at some point too.
Yeah, Jonathan Jones kind of stepped up to be that.
And you had Alex Austin's and the
which I got to give Alex Austin props. He had a good game.
yeah. I got to
give him his flowers. He was nice.
Yeah, I think when he's healthy, he's a pretty good corner, and that's what I'm saying. Like Bill, like that's why I don't want to like when some people. Oh, it's this. Listen, you act like they had a healthy defense last year, but we want to talk about all these losses. They lost 8 one-score games. The quarterback, Mac Jones, was literally responsible for losing us a lot of games. And everything, did we ruin Mac Jones to the point that if he dresses up in another uniform, he still does the same thing he does if he was on the Patriots? With wide receivers that have talent and dudes on the offensive line that supposed to know how to block, despite what Jacksonville's record is, their roster is not that bad. It's really not.
Yeah.
But not to even get too far into that, but it just goes to show you the type of player that we had playing for us. So you can only do but so much to overcome this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just, bro, it's crap, and it's just sad, man. It's just sad because you guys are bringing other players into this. You know, dudes got to get drafted, and just to speak a little bit on this draft right here coming in, this is not like this is the most high-end talent draft. So the Patriots, as far as them being as high up in the draft right now, unless you plan on taking Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter right there, it's not, and this is not a year where maybe you're going to get a lot of return for teams that's trying to trade up for any of these quarterbacks neither. So, and that's why I know some people might be like, well, damn, why would you want to take an edge or a corner in the first round? Because the value of the tackles that's in this draft right here are in question. You know, the Will Campbells, but they're questioning his length and everything else. I don't want it to be that we get a Will Campbell and then I only have to find out well, Will Campbell has to go to left guard if we still don't have a left tackle. You understand what I'm saying? Versus we also need an edge. Abdul Carter is by far the best edge in this draft and has those freakish, I'm not saying he's Micah Parsons, but he's in that mode. He switched from inside linebacker to edge, and, you know, he wears the number 11 at Penn State. So, obviously, if you're a linebacker wearing 11 at Penn State, then that means
there's a reason.
Dog in you. Yeah, you got that dog in you. But, so, you know, game changers like that, as to where do you feel like it's a significant drop-off? Like, where would you have the next couple of tackles? And I'm talking about the Patriots in this sense. Compared to a Will Campbell, because, all right, Kelvin Banks is undersized, you know, at 6'4". So do you want another Isaiah Wynn? Because that was Isaiah Wynn's problem. He was undersized at 6'4", had okay length, but so, you know, this stuff could be overestimated on my behalf. You know, unfortunately, I'm still in the amateur stage of what I'm doing. But, you know, I would, if I was the Patriots, these would be things of my concern versus I know that I need high-end talent on the edge because I do have two good young budding disruptive inside rushers with Christian Barmore and Keon White, so an edge rusher could unlock that, as well as, you know, you have a Christian Gonzalez out there on the outside. Yeah. Knocking things down. But to be honest with you, I probably got me personally and me working on my publication, I probably got a first round grade on maybe only about 2 of the corners. And that's Will Campbell. Not Will Campbell. That's Travis Hunter and Will Johnson from Michigan. Yeah. So, like, after that, you know, there's some edge rushers where, you know, they're pretty good, but these aren't those guys that you used to see. That's what I'm saying. This draft is like pretty vanilla. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it's not deep.
It's not a very deep, productive draft. Like I heard somebody compared it closer to when did Trayvon Walker go first overall? when the Jags did that. What 2022?
Right, that was the year after Trevor.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2022.
Yep. Because they had number 1 pick back to back, right?
Right, and they might have another one this year. It's crazy.
Or was that 2023? With the
So I think it was the
Gonzalez?
year we got Cole Strange, right? We got Mac in 21.
Yeah, we got Mac in 21. Cole Strange we got in 22.
Yeah, and I think that was the same year.
23. So wait, who was number 1 in 23? Oh, I'm tripping. Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
it was
both Bears and yeah.
Yeah, it was 22.
It's just tough with the draft because, right, we have so many needs, but we have we have the number 1 cap space in the league. We have so much talent that we're trying to get in, right? We now have Drake May, who he seems to, right, he kind of creates a goal for us in the offseason is to maximize having a talent like that. He kind of pinpoints this offseason, which helps. So like this offseason, just like free agency and stuff is going to determine the draft like crazy because no matter what, we're getting a top tier position. Like that's what we have to do. It's just which one, and it kind of depends on free agency.
Yep, because there is no way, literally no way, that the Patriots can miss out on T. Higgins. Because literally to the point that what I just pointed out to you, the talent gap and the talent deficit of if you don't get your hands on one of those receivers early in the draft, there's a significant drop from by the time that you guys may pick again.
Yeah.
First, you got T. Higgins in the offseason, you can kind of worry about the receiver thing later versus now you can focus on the edge or offensive line, but the offensive line has to be addressed, but you can't miss. That's the problem.
Yeah,
so
with T.
You going to go with the can't miss prospect, or you going to take a swing on the tackle because you feel like, damn it, this could work? Or it's like, well, listen, there's a guy here that we do need at another spot, and it's a can't miss. We'll see what we can get in free agency.
The only reason we wouldn't be able to get T. Higgins, like a legitimate reason, is if T. Higgins screws it up. Right? We have all the cap space. We're in an attractive position because of Drake. The only way that we shouldn't. Check. Yeah, I mean, the only way is for T. Higgins to, do something stupid. Right? There's no excuse for us. It's all on T. Higgins to not want to come here. Which I don't know if he wouldn't.
And that's going to depend on his desires. What is his desires? Is his desire money or his desire to get a chip? Because
we have Drake May. Right? We have both of those in a certain way, right? We have the most money, and then we have a quarterback that looks like he could win Super Bowls.
He definitely can. Like I said, with a competent staff, I just don't want to have to go through this next year where it's like we only end up winning six games next year, because I know they're like, oh, I did hear that there are some rumblings that the Crafts are a little worried that they picked the wrong guy. They got to be worried about that. How could you not?
Yeah, have to be.
But if these next 4 games is gonna prove like a lot, where if they look like they didn't quit and they just get blown out all these games, come on, man,
it's gonna look ugly, right? These are games that if players start to kind of like you said quit, the coaching staff starts to kind of back off and stuff, it's gonna get super ugly. These are really good teams we're facing. It can get really ugly.
I don't want to hear nothing from the media, nobody. Oh, you hired a black guy for 1 year to fire him. Cut it. That ain't what this is about.
Yeah, that's stupid.
You gotta warn him early. You gotta warn him early. This is coming from me. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
That ain't what this is about.
Right.
Listen, he's bad at his job. You feel what I'm saying? He's bad at his job.
Yeah.
But yeah, because this is like, just from the way he talks to the media and everything, it's just like, I can't get behind this dude, man. And it's like, I used to like you as a player, but it's like, man, like, dude. And then if Mike Vrabel's out there, like they said, that's the opportunity cost. If Mike Vrabel It's out there. Come on, New England. Listen, I get it. Alex Van Pelt, you got more duties than Drake May. If that's the case, then you need to be the quarterback's coach. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's probably what's going to happen anyway. If Alex Van Pelt gets fired as the offensive coordinator of the New England Patriots, I'm almost sure that somebody's going to call them on as their quarterback's coach. Because he's probably not just going to be fully gone from the game. That's what happened with some of these coordinators and some of these head coaches, that when they start to fall back down the ladder, they fall back to, being assistant coaches and positional coaches and things like that. Just look, we have been that to do in the house.
Right. Yeah.
That's supposed to be helping monitor Drake May with Alex Van Pelt, but yet the Patriots are still out asking about how to deal with a young quarterback. Like I said, they have this whole Green Bay setup. Alex Van Pelt was the quarterback's coach there. That's why I sent you that tape of the Falcons and the
Packers. Yeah,
yep.
the NFC Championship.
You see how the same style of play from the way the quarterback gets the ball out, things like that. And even though AVP wasn't the offensive coordinator, he was a quarterback's coach, which I was looking for more of that influence. But another good game that you could go back and watch, though, is that game where Cleveland beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
Yeah, the one game he was play calling. Yeah,
he was the head coach that game. I try to go back and just get a better understanding before I'm sitting here, because I'm not just ragging on the dude because I see it everywhere else. Like, this is me watching with my own eyes, and I just feel like I don't know why or how the Patriots got themselves in this position, but I feel like they better be proactive rather than reactive, because that quarterback, now that Drake May showed that he can play, he's going to put pressure on the franchise. So therefore, everybody can, how many games did you guys decide to win in the rebuild season? How many games have we played so far this year? 13?
13, yeah.
And 6 of them, we were told that Jacoby Brissett gives us the best chance to win. But yet you had Drake May sitting on the bench. Whose call was that? Because the offensive line looks a little, they're still bad, but they look a tad bit better because Drake May can get out and make the plays. And now these wide receivers that, Jacoby Brissett couldn't get the ball out to him, he's actually getting the ball out to these dudes.
Yeah, did you see Alex Austin's quote? He was in the locker room. He said that the second we got Drake May and we saw him in the building, we knew what we had. They knew the whole time, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Jacoby Brissett, their plan was to have Jacoby in the whole season and then Drake next year. That was their plan, and they fell flat on their face because the offensive line and the receivers completely failed them, and it was crumbling so much faster than they were expecting.
But let them tell it. They know what they're doing. And these are the people that's what I'm saying. I'm taking, just because Drake May's coming out shining, I love it. I love it. But don't forget the fact that doesn't excuse who we have behind him. That just all the more should make you want to get them out of there. Do we see a Super Bowl caliber winning coaching staff right now? No, because when they go up against these coaches with more experience, they're getting out coached. And where they're getting outplayed at is in the situational parts of the game. Yeah. Situationally, they're getting outplayed because, like I said, I've seen, like I said, even in the Rams game, the team played well enough to win. What happened? Coaching let us down. They played well enough to win against the Colts. Coaching let us down. They played well enough to get against the Titans to win. Coaching let us down.
Mm-hmm.
So
100%.
Since that Chicago game, like, Drake May has one win under his belt,
which is crazy.
And this is what I'm getting at. And people, I don't know if you see me arguing the other day on Twitter, but this was mind-boggling to me. Like, it's like, I was being attacked, but I was giving it back. But it's like, look at this as an overall whole. Yes, he looks great. We understand that. Now take a step back and look at the whole situation. Why has he only won one game when he's been in virtually almost all of them, except the Miami game? Because it just looked
Yeah.
like the defense couldn't stop anything.
Yeah,
It's
which
like,
honestly, I don't really count that game. Miami in Miami, it's never good. Like that went exactly how it is always supposed to be and always will be. Like, really, like you said, all the other games are super close games, and it's the situational stuff.
because look at the wins. You got to win against a Cincinnati team that I'm pretty sure AVP knew how to play, because Cleveland for years has been fucking putting their neck on the Bengals. Putting their foot on the Bengals' necks by running the ball straight down their throat. So, and they're usually never prepared early on in the season anyway. Boom.
Right.
You beat the Jets. Interim head coach, dysfunction. Even probably just as much dysfunction or even more dysfunction as you. And then you beat the Bears. Dysfunction. Probably just as much dysfunction or just so these are coaches that you guys have won against because these aren't good coaches.
Right.
Versus when we see the good ones, the situational stuff pops up. Like that's my viewpoint on it. And that's why I try to be careful with what I'm saying to make sure that what I'm saying is actual factual, and I'm not just making up something off the top of my head, because can't argue with what's right there in front of you.
Right.
It shouldn't look like that. I understand it's your first year. It should not look like that. That is a bad sign.
Yep. Well, let's get on a good note. Bill Belichick had an interview with UNC for the head coach position. I love it.
I love it. That's his home. He's from North Carolina.
He always talks about college ball. He loves college ball. That would be so fun. They're not going to tell him no. They're obviously are going to offer the job for him. Like
anybody that maybe that shows that his interest in the NFL. I don't even think that's what it is. Just let him have his love and his passion for the game.
Yeah, he doesn't care if it's the NFL or not.
Because obviously, I don't even think when people are like, well, that doesn't get him Schuler's record. I think y'all care more about him breaking Schuler's record than he does. Because realistically, if you look at it as a collective whole, do he got to beat Schuler's record? Like, let's be for real.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
Belichick had to beat Don Schuler's record. It meant something because you wanted to see him do it in the Patriots jersey because Don Shula coached the Dolphins. But let's be real. 6 Super Bowls, eight Super Bowls overall in his career. Like, like his accolades, despite whatever you feel, like, come on, seriously.
I'm excited to see him in college. I think it's be so fun. There's talk of like the contract offers, like once he's done, that Steve Belichick will take over. I mean, that was kind of part of it. If I'm UNC, I'm taking it. It's Bill Belichick. Like, you're obviously taking it. You have to have Bill Belichick. Like,
and honestly, I'm about to move to North Carolina soon. So I will be in there. But like I told you originally, I'm from South Carolina, but I am actually about to move to North Carolina soon. And like I said, I just respect it off the fact that I haven't heard anybody talk about the fact that it is the man's home state. How can you not respect that? It's it's that. Listen. He just loves the coach. Let him do what he loves. Whether he wants to do it in the NFL so y'all can scrutinize him some more, and he wants to go to his home state.
It's college. Like, if a normal season's like 3 losses. Like, he's just gonna dominate. It's gonna be easy, and he's just gonna have a good time.
Yeah, and honestly, looking deeper in at it, the way that the college game has changed, and somebody like Bill, despite what they say, Bill knows how
he knows money.
Work.
Yep.
Yeah, because I literally read something about how he was getting a bargain on outside linebackers, like those 3-4 outside linebackers, because a lot of the league was just running 4-3, so they were looking for DNs and things like that. So there was a surplus of outside linebackers that he could use for his system, that 3-4 system that he used for more speed and things like that, and was getting them at a budget. Somebody like just him understanding that scope of what was going on. So college football with all this NIL and everything else that's going on and what's doing this and this, that, and the third, Bill Belichick could be perfect for that. Because I'm pretty sure he looks at somebody like Deion Sanders that it can get motivated.
Those things can be similar, right?
Yeah, he can get motivated by.
People with Deion said that they'd be NFL ready because he knows the NFL. Bill knows the NFL better than anybody. The recruiting is gonna be easy, and then spreading out the money, figuring that out, will be nothing.
He picks his players.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like, I hear people like, oh, kids nowadays, this, kids now that. Yeah, and that's what's wrong with some of them nowadays. Football does need to be tightened back up on. I'm not saying nobody should be disrespected, or I don't feel like that's how hopefully at some point I want to coach. You know what I mean? Whether it's kids, teenagers, but I don't feel like that's the way the game should be coached. But I feel like Bill would relate well with a lot of people he's bringing in. And honestly, that ACC is wide open. We're not gonna act like ACC is like completely.
Yeah. The only thing I'm upset about was that this wasn't like 3 years ago where he could have had Drake May. Like that would have been fun. Right. That would have been fun. But,
there was another thing I was about to say too. Man, it kind of like just slipped my head when we was talking about Bill. Shoot. Oh yeah. Yeah, when we talk about and especially when they talk about these young innovative minds and these teams and things like that, it's like relative like to the Patriots and just the NFL overall. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, you guys like who's these quarterbacks that you're saying is just you get what I'm saying? Like us being Patriots fan, we've seen winning at the highest degree. So it's like, yeah, you can pad your stats all you want. Look at Jameis. Jameis can fling that ball like not many can. But he's
crazy.
He's gonna give you those.
Yeah.
And that doesn't diminish anything because Jameis Winston is very talented. He is, but
he's been a winner.
Yeah, he does boneheaded stuff. So it's just like when talking about that, the Patriots are down compared to these other teams, like, are we? We can fix our roster just like they can. Because he's talking about high-end talent, what? A $30 million a year wide receiver, a $250 million quarterback, $100+ million edge rusher. But what is that getting all of these teams? I don't know one quarterback that's been making over 250+ in a 5-year span that's don't won a Super Bowl.
Well, they're not even winning games. Right, Tua, Trevor, Joe, or Burrow, Jordan Love. Jordan Love's the only one who's like winning, and he just lost last night. They're not gonna clinch the division. They're not even close.
Patrick Mahomes knew he spread that contract out over 10 years.
You guys think it was like the biggest contract in NFL history, but it was also like the longest, and he's been able to spread it out crazy.
It was smart because Kansas City got ahead of it before the market. But that's where it comes down to. Do you want money or do you want to win? That's why Tom gave the blueprint. You leave meat on the bone.
I don't know why players, like it's so obvious. Like,
yeah, and I heard that, it's a young man's game. Is it? Then why is Andy Reid still winning, huh? If it's a young man's game.
Yeah. Right.
These dudes get to that point and they get out coached by the old man. Who couldn't beat Bill in the playoff? Who couldn't beat Bill in the playoff game?
Yeah, so Bill's even older.
Innovative minds. Shanahan, he got the belt. McVay got the belt.
Yeah.
So it's just like I just hate how people rag on my team, man. Some of my favorite people, like I'm telling you, I'm gonna come back at you. You understand what I'm saying? Like we going through our hard times, and you don't know what it looks like. Ownership is boneheaded, but they piss me off collectively. All in all, though, we're not a bad organization, nor we're a bad franchise, and it does bother me to see us like kind of move down to that level, especially when I feel like the team could be playing better. That's why I look at the coaching staff the way that I do, because coaches matter. I don't think any game matters more as far as like a coach has his imprint on the game more than football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Like coaching matters, and sadly, right now, this is what we have to deal with. And I just, I don't want to see the team gets brutally beat down over the next couple weeks. But if they quit on Gerard, and like I said, you got 2 games against Buffalo and against the Chargers, and this is late in the season. Arizona, all those teams got something that they're playing for. They're trying to.
They're all in the hunt at minimum.
Yeah, they're trying to lock up their playoff spots. So I doubt they're going to look at the Patriots as a pushover game.
They're going to hit us hard.
Get locked in.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to come in and mold them out of the way to get into the playoffs, because they're playing for something so much more.
Yeah, they're looking at us as must not loses.
Yeah.
Right. They're going in there, they're expecting to win, and they're going to do everything that they can to not lose. Because losing to us might take them out of the playoffs. Right. This is like a supposed to be an easy win for all these teams, but they're not going to treat it like that, because like if they lose to this, it's like, okay, well, this was supposed to be an easy game, and now we have all these, the Chargers had the Chiefs again, I'm sure, and the Cardinals, their division's kind of up in the air. Like all of them are playing well. Like they're not going to just like let this game just be like, oh, we'll put in our second string, we'll still win. Like this is a game like they have to win, because they may not win, other crucial games down the road, because they have tougher.
And they struggle against mobile quarterbacks, so that's going to be a problem. Because I feel like the middle of that defense definitely needs an upgrade at inside linebacker. So I'm interested to see how they take care of that in the draft. But that Chargers game, which I can say, at least for Jalen Polk's sake, I pray that's at least a game where he shows a glimmer. Because you want to know what they're going to keep showing? And if the Chargers is kicking our ass, Lad McConkey, Jalen Polk, being that you traded out of that pick. And I know people's like, oh, well, what would they have done with Pop Douglas had they brought in Lad McConkey, because he's mainly a slot? Dude, Lad McConkey's like 6'1".
He plays everywhere.
Yeah. Lad McConkey is a pretty decent sized wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think he could have lined up pretty well outside at a Z spot, more of that off ball wide receiver where he can get free releases and things like that. And but at the end of the day, that's what the Patriots did, as well as there were plenty of tight ends that could have been taken right there with that pick if you weren't like sold on the receivers, because from what I understand, Jalen Polk had a late second, third round grade on them. And so it's just, man, like just
well, let's just enjoy the bye week, right? We don't have to watch them play the game. Just kind of see how everything else unfolds. And then
gag order on Gerard Mayo. Can we put a gag order on Gerard Mayo?
I know, right?
I'm about to go to court and ask for, hey, listen, can you stop this guy from talking to the media?
He needs to stop talking. It never helps him. Well, we don't get to see him this weekend, so I guess that's a good thing for now.
Yeah, man.
But I'll be tweeting about the other games. So I'm excited for the other games.
For sure.
But yeah, it was good talking to you.
Hey, for sure, man. I'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
We're on to Cincinnati. It's nothing about the past, nothing about the future. It's right now we're preparing for Cincinnati.
Okay, do you feel like the talent you have here is good?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati.
What is your responsibility?
Well, I mean, I'm just asking, do you think you've done enough to help Tom Brady?
We're getting ready for Cincinnati. Stupid thing.